I've been at Stevenson for a year and a half now. This will be my 4th semester, and I have really enjoyed it. It's pretty much amazing to me because I used to work at Ball State University, which is a fairly large public university, about 20,000 students, whereas here we have 3,000. And it's public, so you follow all government regulations in particular ways, whereas here it's private, so you get to do things in a bit more free format. And I think that's amazing. It's just led to really good classes, independent learning on the parts of the students. I really like the fact that we're doing a hardcore curriculum revision right now, where we're shifting it over to skills-based as opposed to content-based, which I think is a real benefit to the students. Basically, instead of teaching them, well, here's one of my favorite quotes right here. It's on this mug. We shouldn't teach great books. We should teach a love of reading. B.F. Skinner. So it focuses more on skills that you can apply to any text rather than just a list of works. Here, memorize those. And I really like that about Stevenson. It's great.
Cool.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, see, I used to muck stalls when I was a kid. That probably doesn't count, does it? I was a copy editor for a little while. I've also been a tech trainer for an engineering firm where I wrote some of their documents. So really, when you've got an English degree, you can do a lot of different things with it depending on what your interests are. One of the nice things about the way we set up our major, too, is that you can accessorize your degree. So if you have a major in English and what you think you want to do is tech writing for aeronautics, you could go take maybe engineering course or something. I don't know that much about aeronautics, I'm just guessing here, but you could go take something basic and introductory in that kind of area that would give you basic information on their terminology, that sort of thing. So you'd have the writing, and then you'd also have the terminology down. That, I think, is wonderful, too, that there's that kind of flexibility. That changes every semester, sort of depending on what's happening in individual classrooms. My degree is in dramatic literature, so anytime I'm doing a theater-oriented course, that tends to be my favorite. This semester, I'm really looking forward to 2 different classes I'm teaching. One's called Staging Sex, Gender, and Sexuality, and I'm afraid half the students might have signed up for the wrong reason, because the sex word in there, instead of recognizing that what we're dealing with are concepts like biological sex versus gender definitions that we get culturally. But I'm looking forward to that a great deal. A bunch of students I've had before in it, so I'd say I know 3/4 of the students. That's going to be fun, and they're all hilarious. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it's all about plays that are about how our culture makes us be masculine or feminine and what we think of that, and hopefully the students will enjoy kind of comparing what's happening in the plays with what happens in their own lives and make some connections that way. The other one's called Drama Mamas. It's all women playwrights, contemporary women playwrights, writing about issues, the kind of feminist issues. So I'm looking forward to that one, too. They've never asked me to teach something that I hate. Not that I'm probably allowed to share. No, just kind of a couple of fun things. I was teaching some gender issues in one of my classes, and I had a student who we were talking about, well, can you let your little girl play with a dump truck? And everybody agreed that that was okay. Can you let a little boy play with a hairdresser's table? And oh my gosh, there was total pandemonium. Oh my God, no, you can't do that. Why? And I was saying, okay, why? Why have we, obviously the hairdresser's table is feminine, and that's not good enough for a boy. But the dump truck is masculine, so that's good enough for a girl, right? So let's talk about that. And like I said, that caused absolute pandemonium for quite a while. And then we got to talking about, well, what about boys playing with dolls, and what about this, and what about that? And I had a student who said, now, I work in a daycare, and my nephew's in that daycare, and he loves to play with dolls, and I will not let him play with dolls. Take that doll away. Every time that boy picks up that doll, I take that doll away. And I know I was looking at her. I had to be looking at her funny because she stopped, and she said, what? And I said, why don't you want him to be a good dad? Don't you want him to love his kids and nurture them and care for them? And her face just went, boom, you know. And she came in the next day and she was like, my dad and I got into it last night. I told him my nephew was playing with dolls if he wanted to, and he was going to be a good dad. And I was just sitting there going, yay! So that was a really neat class. I thought that was. That's an interesting question. The first avenue would be, Well, something you were telling me about a little bit ago, apparently we have a program, software kind of quiz, where you can find out what your real skills are. So they can take that. See, our career services are designed to help students make up their mind on what they have skills in and what they like the most. I'd say they also should work with a faculty member. If they've been in a particular class or two that they really enjoyed, that really stimulated them and challenged them and made them go, that's fascinating, wow. Go talk to that faculty member. Find out what kind of experiences they've had, maybe what kinds of things they recommend. We also have internships and work-study programs through Stevenson where students are doing really neat things. I'm working with 2 interns this spring. One of them's not from the English department. She's a web designer. So she's... I can't even think of the name of that program. But she's a web designer, and she's going to set up all the background for a website. And the other intern I'm overseeing is an English major who's going to go into basically what I do. She likes drama and theater and English all together. So I'm a little interdisciplinary there, which tends to cause troubles in some universities, but Stevenson has no trouble. They like interdisciplinary because they recognize the real world works that way. So anyway, she wants to kind of do what I do. And I'm on the board of a conference that meets in Los Angeles every spring. She's going to come with me there. She's going to help run the conference. She's going to take video of it, and she's going to do all the web writing. And we're going to create a website for that drama conference that actually functions. I mean, as a real website. This isn't a class exercise. It's real. So she's going to get to see, does she really like this? Does she really want to be an academic and go on to teach at the college level or maybe the high school or whatever? Does she like the kind of scholarship? Does she enjoy web writing? She's going to get to do that. And then the web designer who's coming in, that should be really interesting because she's going to get to she's never produced an actual website before. She's done a lot of design, but she's never done the website, although she's worked on websites. So she's going to get the chance to kind of broaden and see if she likes doing web design particularly and creating the site itself. So those are things I would really recommend for students, getting involved in some of the internship possibilities. We have work-study programs that let you go and work in a company somewhere. And a lot of the internships aren't on campus. I should have specified that. A lot of internships are off campus, too, with companies around Baltimore. So students get real-world experience doing that, and they get college credit for it. And sometimes you're lucky enough to get paid for it, too, which is really helpful, as well as class credit. You get course credit and you get paid to do it. So you aren't just producing something for a classroom to get a grade from a teacher. You're producing something for a corporation, or in my case, an international drama conference that you can show to employers as a real working, functioning thing. That, I think, would be hugely useful because you actually get experience doing a particular thing and find out, do I like this? Do I have a flair for it? Or did I really hate that? I thought I'd love it, I could hate it. So hopefully that would be really useful for most students.